You are listening to the Age of Heroes podcast, a podcast dedicated to pop culture, fandom, and the geek world. My name is JP Sarricolea. I am a digital creator committed to inspiring others to pursue their passions, their dreams, and goals. I am sitting down with creators and influencers from all walks of life to talk about their work, their experiences, and how to make a positive impact. Welcome to the show. Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome to another episode, this week's episode of Age of Heroes, this podcast. And this season has been amazing. We've been having a lot of interviews, a lot of special guests, people that I admire, I respect in the industry and in the collectible industry and different areas, also collectors. It's been amazing. So and today is no exception. I have a great guest. The name is Amilcar Aldana Fong. He is a friend of mine. We became friends through this hobby, through the things that we have done here together. But this is my first time talking to him in person, face to face, at least through the camera. So I am very grateful for the opportunity. I admire Amilcar. I think he is a phenomenal artist. He does amazing work. He's been working for companies like, as far as I know, the work that he has done with SciShow, with tweeterhead, XM Studios. I'm sure he's working with other companies, but he is phenomenal with what he does. His art, his style is very unique, very different. Particularly, he does a lot of creatures and monsters, and he's definitely very good. And I'm grateful, Amilcar, for being here. Now, before we get into it, and I want to introduce him, now that I kind of give you an introduction, he's going to introduce himself. I just want to make sure for those who are listening here that perhaps in this podcast, we're going to switch back and forth sometimes between Spanish and English, because that's actually Spanish also our first language, and, back and forth. So bear with us. I know some of you are bilingual, but some are not. I will probably have some subtitles for those who are interested. If you're watching this on YouTube, again, we're also on the different platforms. So whether it's iTunes, Teacher, Spreaker, there's so many different platforms that you are able to listen to this episode. Amilcar, bienvenido. How are you today?
Gracias. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here. Finally, face to face with
Yes.
JP Sarricolea.
Correct. Yeah, así está ahí.
How do I pronounce that? Sarricolea, like that.
You did it the right way, yeah. Sarricolea.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Sarricolea, that's the right way. Everybody says Sarricolea, but Sarricolea, that's the right way. So
that's good.
Bienvenido, Amilcar.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. Gracias.
Yeah, and Amilcar, I'm just so glad to have you. I know that we, I've been wanting to do this for quite some time. Of course, I've been busy. You're also busy. You do a lot of work. You're always busy. But you're always open, and I've seen that a few of your interviews on YouTube where you have talked to other collectors and people that ask you about your opinion in reference to the hobby. And that's something that not everyone wants to do. A lot of artists, I know a lot of artists here, and I talk to many of them. A lot of people, they're more private. They like to kind of keep things to themselves, which I understand, I respect. But you're open to talk about the art, and definitely you are. I don't know much about your life story, but definitely it's a very interesting life story. You're Cuban, but you live in Argentina, which is far from home. Definitely far from home. Yeah. How is it that you got to this, to do this? How you became an artist first and foremost? How was everything? Your life back in Cuba? How was it?
Well, I had a very good and fun childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Always drawing. Since I have a memory, I was always drawing and always trying to create new stuff and always in love with fantasy and comics and cartoons. Of course, living in Cuba, we didn't have a lot of access to the merchandising of any movie or whatever it is, TV series. Mm-hmm. But the little that I had was enough for me to spark the desire of copying and drawing and always trying to copy. I remember that the first comic that I had the chance to have in my hands was a compound that they used to have. I don't know if they're still doing that, but I don't know how to say omnibus. Is that it's not
Omnibus.
an omnibus because omnibus is a compiling of a story, but in this case it was just I don't know how to say, but a book that gathered 5 Spider-Man stories.
Okay.
Versus Octopus.
Like a trade paperback, yeah.
Annual.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't remember. It's annuals. They used to call it annuals or something like that, right?
So there's
46. So
annuals, yeah.
Yeah, like that. So I would say it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
So it has 5 Spider-Man stories, and the last one was almost like an extra Hulk story. Okay. And that was the first time I knew about those characters because we didn't watch. They didn't transmit that in TV, Spider-Man's or comics or any of that. Of course, Donald Duck and Goofy, all that kind of Disney stuff, yes, but not the comics, right? Not the superhero stuff. And I love those stories. I love the comics. I love the drawing. I love the colors. I remember vividly the Hulk one. It was amazing. And I remember recently I was because I was working. I had the chance to work on a commission for Hulk, and I was trying to find again that story of a Hulk and even the front page. And it was really hard for me to find that one. And I recall having an image of the front page, which was a gigantic Hulk standing over a city. But I'm telling you that the city, the bigger buildings just got up to his knees. So what I'm saying is that it's just a representation of how gigantic the emerald giant was. And I remember that having that in my mind, like, wow, amazing. And when I recently find out again the comic, it was really like, oh my God, I remember this totally different. So the drawing was not as good as I remember. But anyway, that's the symbol of that's a sign of how vivid and how profound was the impact on me. So, but in Cuba, I was always drawing, always interested in FX, dinosaurs, creatures, monsters. The original King Kong was a very huge inspiration for me because it has everything, romantic, and because King Kong, it was the first time when a creature was a hero, and not only a creature or a monster, but it was a hero, because he was, at the end of the day, he was trying to save the girl from airplanes and dangers in the jungle and whatever. So he has almost everything that I loved, creatures, romantic things, whatever. Of course, Jurassic Park, Terminator, Star Wars, all that kind of stuff was for me super awesome. Aliens and Predators, all the franchises. I know that we can discuss about that, but anything related to that, I like it anyway. So because it's fantasy for me. So that was in Cuba. And then I went to college. I studied physical therapist.
Okay.
To become a physical therapist, I studied, I graduated after 5 years studying as a physical therapist. I worked there. And then I moved out, I came to Argentina, spent 10 years working as a physical therapist. Okay. But always drawing. I mean, drawing was for me always a constant, always drawing, always trying to spend time. Every free time that I had, I do it. But in Cuba, I didn't have internet. And in Argentina, when I was 35 years old, when I got my first computer. And it was not even to study how to use Photoshop or ZBrush or any of that program. It was more like, do you know anything about Facebook? I don't know anything about Facebook. Well, but you can find a lot of friends from the childhood there, blah, blah, blah. I'm 35 years at that time. And I said, like, okay, let's get a computer to see if I can find my friends, blah, 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 whatever, connecting with people. But after that is when I started to realize that there's a whole community and a whole world of, creature building, creature designing, and open my mind like, oh my God, this is an ocean. This is really something incredible. And step by step, I started to reconnect with art and start to, how to say, having from a point of view of a professional, like how to draw, how to design, how to especially creature design, Neville Page, Carlos Guantes, those two were my main influence. And I got the tutorials and I started to practice. I get up, for example, if I had my first patient, for treatment at 9 a.m., I woke up maybe 6 or 5 a.m. to start studying those tutorials.
Wow.
And after work, I came back home and I, eat something, take a shower, and then again, draw. So after that, I trying to pursue this, I can get better at this. I like to do this. I went to an academy, I would say a school of how to make how to sculpt traditionally at the time, using super sculpting, how to do collectible statues. I didn't know anything about that.
Wow.
Anything. It's
and you were around 35 when this happens?
I would say more close to
40.
No. I would say
30 something.
Wait a minute. 35.
Wow.
Something like that. 36. Something like that. And I said I didn't know anything about Sideshow Collectibles, any other company. I didn't know that people can make a living
doing those things.
Sculpting creatures, monsters, Iron Man, whatever it is. It's like, wow, this is crazy. I want to do that. I want to do this. And I got contact with the professor, my teacher that I have there, which is another incredible artist, Adrián Taboada, still in business, still working for the industry. He's Argentinian too. And he contacted me with a studio where he was working. And that studio was led by Pablo Villano, right? The great Pablo Villano. And I say, hey, can I come here 2 times a week and I'll do my stuff. I just want to be here. I won't bother you guys. I just want to learn. I will stop working as a physical therapist 2 times a week, but I want to stay here. I want to learn. I want to really breathe all this artistry. For me, seriously, it was like working at Weta Workshop. For me, that was the closest I could get to those making of the Lord of the Rings and all that stuff, when they were barely doing something digitally, but most of the things they did, traditionally, and then scanned them. And for me, that was super close. It's like, okay, this is a dream come true. And after a while, few months, I got the chance to get hired there to work for Sideshow Collectible as a concept artist, and then as a sculptor. And after that, I began just independently working as a freelance for Sideshow Collectibles. And that's pretty much the story.
That's
pretty much the story.
It is an amazing story. To think about it, because like for the most part, a lot of artists who I know, they start very young. Whether they start already in art school, even in high school, so they're doing all that. So they go to college and they start doing, perhaps in colleges when they discover their calling. But you came pretty late into it, and it seems like, looking at your art, it seems like you've been doing this for a long time, which is amazing, because you definitely, that talent was already there. It just needed to tap into the talent. That's what pretty much you did, and it was amazing. And one thing I would say that amazes me, it's about you are in a capital in the world where Argentina is like a pool of so many phenomenal artists and masters and teachers, which is amazing. It's like you are at the center of everything, and definitely it's been I can see that that's been impactful for you. Do you love it? Do you love to be like been living in Argentina for a while, but Do you really like it there? I think that was if you were probably in Cuba, you were never got the chance to do what you're doing now.
Well, that's true. One of the main things is I remember that at some point in my life, I got divorced, and my parents, talking to them and telling them, well, I got divorced. It's not traumatic, but it's a hard experience.
Yeah.
And they said to me, would you come back? And I said, hell no, I'm not going back. I'm going forward, because at that time I was already in contact with possibilities of becoming an artist. I was already studying some how to say I was studying in a more traditional professor atelier artist in a school here.
Academically,
I was already meeting people here, and I was like, no, I know I won't have the same chances that I have here to meet my path than in Cuba. In Cuba, I would not be able to do that. So I say no, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here and meeting so many fantastic artists, from Ciruelo, Martin Canale, so many.
Yeah.
And in recent years, after the pandemic or during the pandemic, so many good, traditional artists became digital artists, and it's really incredible. It's really incredible. They just need to spend more time in front of a computer, and they just boom.
They took it, yeah.
Incredible.
So do you do both? You do traditional sculpting and also you do digital sculpting, or?
Yeah. At the beginning, it was traditional. I sculpted. The first project was a city hunter, a predator, for Sideshow Collectibles.
Oh wow!
Then an aliens, alien warrior bust for Sideshow Collectibles. Then the predator wolf. The one that you have.
Yeah, that I see in the back. Yeah.
There. I did that one too. Then for God of the Dead, I did Oglavale bust, which is a character for the God of the Dead for Sideshow Collectibles, and also Exile, that you can see her here too, which is a bust too. So after that, I became a digital sculptor, mainly because of the force of the industry. It's like you can make changes using the tool, the ZBrush, the digital tool. You can make changes quicker, faster. You can print it out the size you want. You can make tests. Infinite possibilities that traditional, it was not possible.
It was not possible. Yeah, because it's like, and I remember I knew about all these pieces, but I was not really paying attention to who the sculptor was. But the one that really caught my the one that I was really saying, oh wait a minute, there's something very different, is when you sculpted that bus, the Skeletor bus, and for Tweeterhead, which that's when I really kind of got to know you. And I made a video on my channel too where I talk about it. And it seems to me that you are very good at those things, particularly in with creatures and monsters and anything like that. You're really good. It's like you kind of love to do those things. Is there a fascination with it, that you have a fascination for creatures more than even superheroes, or it's just because it's something that you've been doing and people kind of label you that and they're giving you that type of work? What do you think about that?
Well, anything that allows me to put my imagination to work, that would be the thing for me. Even if I have a small room to change a little bit that character, because let's be honest, we all love comics and Iron Man and Captain America, Thor and Wolverine, Hulk. We all love that. For sure. I told you one of the main the first characters that in comic that really I really like was Hulk. And Spider-Man. But the thing is, if I have to do a Hulk, just because with no room for me to express what I believe, what I feel about the Hulk, I don't want to work on that. I don't really want to work on that. And that is something that that recently have been happening in the industry, which is after Avengers, after the pandemic, so many artists, good, very good artists, but so many variations of the same. So many variations of the same. And at the same time, you say, well, it's variations. Yeah, but those variations are pretty much the same. Just the pose is changing. Just the comic in which it's based is changing. And in the industry, you're having less and less and less opportunity to do something different, to something to speak where you can say, okay, how can I make the collector say exactly the same you said, which is there is different here. There is something different here. Yes, it's a skeleton, it's a man with a skull as a head, but there is something different there. So what I'm saying is that there is in the industry less and less room for that kind of work.
Creativity,
less and less room. I was fortunate enough to have the privilege to work on companies that gave me that opportunity, which is XM, which is tweeterhead. Both of those companies were really good with me in that sense. For example, when I do the Scarecrow for XM, they just said, design the Scarecrow. We don't know how to put this guy, the Scarecrow character, inside this samurai line. We don't know anything. This is a puzzle that you need to solve. And I said, okay, let's get the chance. Let's get the challenge. It was challenging. But at the end of the day, I created the whole background story for that character. And because I've created that background story, I was able to portray that Scarecrow. Exactly the same with the aliens, based on the great Simon Lee's by the Zero design or sketch, right? He did that in clay traditionally. And I am a huge fan of him. And they say, okay, from here, you do whatever you think is good. And, there it is. So that's the kind of things that I really like. It's not about the how to say, it's not about the character itself. It's about how much
you're able to express yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. How can I say something through that character? So if I want to do, for example, I've been thinking about a sculpture that I would like to do about the Batman. It is not related. It's not related to any comic. It's just I want to do a Batman. I would like to do a Batman that is very, very, very old.
Okay. And
the city went just crazy, just like, all the bad guys ramping and killing people or doing whatever they want. And it's Batman wearing a very, his Batman suit, but he's an old man. He's an old man. But I want to see him like with blood and with, hunchback and really as an old man. Wow. And saying, you know what, even if this is my last day inside an alley, dark alley, with the Killer Croc and all the villains in front of him, is even if this is my last day, I'll do it. I'm gonna fight you guys. And that's the Batman that I want to say, that I want to sculpt or design or something, because there's so much to say there. You can represent the whole Batman story, scars, everything in just the last day of Batman.
Okay.
As an old man.
That is actually a great concept. Just when you mentioned it, I was like, man, I can see how it is enticing. It is a very enticing idea just by itself. And definitely you have a great level of creativity. And I would say this is the thing that, like you're saying, I think this, like, I can agree on that. Like the problem we have, I think, is the market, of course. Consumers dictate the trends, and unfortunately sometimes consumers want the same thing over and over. So finding those companies that are willing to just do something out of the box, something that is new, and give that opportunity to artists like you to kind of go crazy. It's like you kind of give you the free pass to say whatever you want to express and do it. And definitely that scarecrow that you're mentioning from XM Studios for the Samurai line is just very unique. It's so much detail in it. It is an amazing looking piece. It's not for everyone, sure.
Thank you.
It's not for everyone, but for those who are looking for something different, if you're looking for the basic scarecrow, there's other options out there. But if you're looking for something that breaks the box and it's a piece of art, and definitely that is one. But I can say the same thing about a lot of the pieces that you produce. It's like when you're given the chance to do something for yourself, you come up with some really amazing, very unique ideas. Do you sometimes get disappointed with the industry when you feel that you are kind of hold back, that they're holding you back to do what you want to do? Do you feel that?
Well, I'm not I am an artist, which not always speaks for the capability to do business.
Yes.
And sometimes, now what we are living in the industry is that they just don't care about quality. They care about quality enough. It's good enough. If it sells, it's good enough.
Wow.
Look, it's sold out, which means it's good. Not exactly. Because, for business, yes. But we talk about creating something new, creating something unique. It's not always the case. And after the pandemic, what we see is a whole wave of artists that got good enough to be hired at the companies. But as they are, crazy to be and happy to be artists in the industry, they are willing to accept very, very low income. And what we see nowadays is that, first, companies do not take in consideration how much passion and work you put behind statues. They don't care about that. I don't care about that. They say, I don't care about stories. We sell statues. That's all we said. We sell. And at the same time, as they don't take that in consideration, they don't want to pay for that. So you become just a sculptor. That's it.
Wow. It totally makes sense. I remember when I became, I've been collecting for probably around 20 years. I took a break early. When I got married, I took a break for like 5 years. When I came back
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for marriage.
When I came back into collecting, I was, it was probably when Sideshow was really big, particularly with a lot of the original OG stuff, like they were doing some of the premium format stuff. That's when Martin Canale was involved in the whole process with the Gore group and all that. And they were amazing pieces.
Yeah, totally.
The reason why I came is because Sideshow, because they blew my mind when they came out, because there was nothing like it. There was nothing like it. It was different. It was unique. It was like a total different style. And of course, Sideshow is a company that has produced amazing stuff over the years. They continue to do so. But sometimes I feel that wheel that used to be at the beginning, where they throw something at you that was very unique, seems to me that is more like a repetition of, like you were saying early on, you get the same characters. And in some ways, because the demand is there and companies, of course, have to make do, they have to sell pieces. But across the board, most companies are, like you said, as long as it's good enough, as long as they kind of fulfill the quota or the status quo, they're okay with that. They don't want to break molds. They don't want to make something different or unique or even expand. And some companies are doing it. But for the most part, it feels that everything is kind of stale, even though we have perhaps now the art has come a long way from traditional sculpting to digital sculpting. Now the possibilities are there to do so much amazing stuff. It seems to me that still, like, artists are holding back. And I wouldn't say the artists, I think it's the companies are holding back because of the economy, because what's going on in the world. And unfortunately, that affects artists like you, that you're unable to express or try to do something innovative. How do you deal with all that frustration? Because I'm sure that some days you get frustrated. You just want to do art, but there's a lot of things that go along the way. How do you deal with the frustration?
Well, you sometimes you just have to deal with it because you have a family behind you.
Mm-hmm.
You have a family. I am a family man, and it's just about swallow it and try to keep going. Because to be honest, and this is not to. I think this conversation is good, and sometimes we as artists are not allowed to say something because it's you will become the blacklist artist that companies do not want to work with you because you are complaining about the payment, you are complaining about the things, you are complaining. It's not just about complaining. It's not about complaining. It's about telling the truth. I mean, the company just want to pay less and less and less. Hold on, we are in a post-pandemic world. You are raising more the prices of the statues because it's expensive for you to produce them. How about us? You're producing statues. I am supporting my family.
Yeah.
Why do I have to pay the price of the pandemic and not you? You know what I mean? So it's like I don't know. I understand that. I understand they have to cut here in order to get a profit. But how about all the years of studying and all the effort that I put? So it's not about complaining. It's about, all right, if that is the thing, I don't want to work anymore in this industry. And that's what is happening. I'm doing my best to leave the industry. I'm crazy to just leave the industry, the collectibles industry.
Wow.
I want to work and the truth is, I'm not saying this in a sad way. No. I'm just saying that I'm just moving with the cheese. Yes. I just need to move with the cheese.
Correct.
If I put my best in this industry, and this industry is not ready to recognize and really value what I can do as a sculptor for the industry, then I have to find another way to
outlet,
where to put my artistry, where to put what I'm good at. I'm not just a sculptor.
Correct.
And sometimes people hire you and they want to lead you. They think that you are just someone who came just yesterday as a sculptor, and it's like you're not taking in consideration my experience, what I think is good. And I'm not saying that because any product that I put out there, any project that I worked on, and I have worked on the past, it's not just my art. I have always worked under an artist, an art director.
Art director, yeah.
Yeah, art director. So any product that you can say, wow, that's great. For example, with the Skeletor, I had David Igo, guiding me. Hey, this is the way. And sometimes not just guiding, just him getting the ZBrush and say, do it this way. It's not just that I'm not willing to share the process, because there is a saying, a man alone cannot go far. That's for sure.
That's true.
No matter how good you are. So, but what I'm saying is that they just sometimes hire you because you are fantastic at what you do, but they don't want to let you work. They don't want you to do the great stuff that they saw in your previous work.
Correct.
Like, why did you hire me then? Just because you want to control someone? Just because? Why?
Yeah.
And so anyway, I'm swallowing. I am just trying to keep going.
I've been doing a lot of these interviews for the podcast, and I have talked to many artists, and a lot of artists, some of these artists I've been in the industry for a long time. They share the same sentiment as you do, which is amazing to me to hear it. It's not just you, because sometimes, you might feel like, okay, just me complaining and everybody thinks that I'm just the one. But everybody, some of the greatest artists that I ever known, in this industry, they say the same thing. They are getting tired. They're ready to move on because, they feel that the industry itself doesn't value them anymore, that you simply get jaded and tired of dealing with the things that, a lot of things that had nothing to do with the art. And I feel that it is unfortunate because, to me, without the artists, there's no way that we can have a really healthy industry. Because, like you said, there's plenty of artists now. Of course, everybody's doing now because everybody has access to ZBrush and all that. And there's a lot of digital sculptors out there that working for cheap, but they don't have the same school that many of you have. They didn't prepare themselves. They didn't study with the best. They didn't go and do it academically. So they just produce whatever. So you're not getting the best quality possible in the art. You're getting a rip-off of the art. You may get a good enough Hulk, but you're not getting the best Hulk, or a Hulk that actually is going to blow people's minds, or it's going to be perhaps a new version of Hulk or something totally different that has never seen before. And I think that is the risk of becoming so, this hobby becoming so polluted, already is, with so many subpar art, art that is not good enough. It's just there, that is expensive, but it's not near enough at what could have been done.
Totally.
Do you think that there is future in this industry as it goes? Based on your experience, based on what you're looking at, do you think there is future for this to continue on, or is a bubble that is going to burst at some point and is going to crash? What is your opinion as an artist?
I will only say this: McDonald's.
Okay.
It's a success. It's a success. That's it. I got tired to try to educate collectors through my art. So I was always telling to myself, if I put art, if I put my effort, if I do my best, they will be able to see. They will be able to, through my sculpture, be educated.
Mm-hmm.
They just can't see it. Because for them, it's like, I don't like it because I don't understand it. It's not exactly what I got from the comic. It's like, well, okay, that's what you want. But the other people say, well, I don't like it because I do not understand. You're proposing a journey that I'm not willing to take. It's like, no, I don't like it. So more and more people is like that. And they are just pursuing the bigger thing, the brand new thing, the thing that everybody's trying to, to get. Even when 2 months after they get it, it's like, you know what? It's really boring. I'm gonna sell this statue. Yeah, it was made by someone famous. Yeah, everybody was talking about this, but now that I have it, it's like, no, it doesn't. I'm gonna sell it. And it's like, yeah, because you were on the wave of the new thing. Oh, did you see this? Oh, did you see that? It's huge. It's green. Yeah, but it's boring. It's boring. It doesn't say anything to you. It doesn't try to. It doesn't invite you to do a journey.
That's right.
It is not art. I mean, it's just a copy of what have been done before. So when you see people not, the reason I say McDonald's is because when you take a boy to I don't know how to say that in English, but a hamburger. How to say
a hamburger?
A hamburger. How to say store or house or
a fast
when they do the
a restaurant.
fast food, but restaurant. That's the word. A house-made hamburger restaurant.
That's
when
right.
They put a lot of meat, real meat with a really house-made condiments.
Correct.
You say, what do you think about this? He said, well, it's great. It's good. Okay. We're talking about a boy that have been raised eating McDonald's, right?
That's a good
and you take
analogy.
Him there, and you take him there, and he said, you know what? It's great. It only has cheese, onions, tomato, and what's the other lechuga?
Pickles.
How to say that?
The
pickles.
lettuce.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lettuce. That's it. Boom. That's it. Simple, tasty, and the meat is the queen of a hamburger.
That's
and
right.
They say, yeah, that's good. But when you take them back to the McDonald's, you are waiting for them to say, holy crap, this is what I've been eating so far. You know what they say? I'm sorry, but I love McDonald's. And it's like, you know what? That's it. That's it. That's it.
You're right. You know, and that analogy that you just said it's really on point, because you know what you're saying is the reality. You know, like when people have they have grown accustomed to the cheap stuff. Some people, they prefer the cheap stuff all their lives because that's all they know, you know. And of course, some people see the light, you know, and when they see the real thing, when they eat the real thing, I say, wait a minute, this is real meat. This is real beef, high quality Angus beef versus this junk that nobody knows where it comes from. But the problem is a lot of people, they go there, and like you said, the reason why McDonald's is so famous and popular around the world is the fact that it's just cheap and accessible for everyone. And it's everywhere, and people.
And let me tell you this. Sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay.
It's not about just price, because people would say today, "Hey, but I'm buying this whatever gigantic thing that is pricey." No, it's about quality. It's not about that. It's about quality.
Correct.
It's what you put inside your mouth. It's what you put inside your body. And in this case, the thing is that if you hire to do statues, the cheaper artist that has some quality, yes, they study, they have, they put effort into that. We are not denying that. And even we are not denying that McDonald's success have some, value behind him, behind the franchise. But what I'm saying is that if you're not able to recognize quality and mediocrity,
right,
or at least an art that needs to be more developed, more study, more background to say something through a statue. If you're not able to do that, then that's it. We artists, the people that really try to say something with what we do, not just to make a living and say, hey, look at that, well, I'm working for Sasha. No. I'm trying to say something with what I do, anything it is, whatever it is. If I have the room, of course, the place to say it, if I am given the chance to say it, they just, it's just like, well, it's not fun anymore.
I see.
And the most important thing is that not even commissioners, private commissioners, and not even companies, they are not willing to pay for what you're trying to give.
Correct.
And it's like, why do I want, let's say, a Hulk with anatomy saying this or whatever, when I can just hire this guy that is less cheaper than you and have a Hulk that is big, is huge, and that's it, big and huge. You have a success.
Yes. Yeah, that is, it's definitely, wow, what, and I gotta be honest with you, like over the years, as a person that has been involved in this industry and, as a collector and as a reviewer, I've seen so many interpretations or so many commissions that in my mind, and people are always bragging about, oh, I spend such and such amount of money, thousands of dollars for this commission, because, just for the kit and then just to assemble the kit and paint the kit, and super expensive. But the art, the anatomy is wrong. Everything is wrong with that piece. It doesn't really evoke any emotions to me. It's just like somebody just kind of put something together and just they put a price tag on it. And of course, people flock to that because they pay so much and they say, well, this is only 20 made. But in my mind, I'm thinking, even if there's only one made, I wouldn't pay that type of money for something that in reality doesn't speak to me. And it's just not even good enough. It's not good enough for anything. And unfortunately, the problem is with a lot of the collectors is they just go by pretty much by the hype created by other collectors, rather than just really looking at the pieces, looking at the art and says, wait a minute, is this really worth that much? Do I really want to buy this? Because it has to be a commitment. In my opinion, if you're going to get into a collectible, you have to commit yourself to what you're buying. You're paying that much money. commit yourself into the art, pay attention to the art. Is that really speaking to you? And I think that's important. Like there are artists that they do amazing work. There are great artists out there that everybody talks good about them, but their art doesn't speak to me the same way. I don't feel connection with it. Your art is so unique. It's so you. And I feel that the art that you do, it's sometimes can be scary and grotesque in one way. It's dark, but at the same time, it's like, I feel that there's some spirituality around it. There's something spiritual about it. And to me, that is, it's I feel like you're trying to say something, when you, like you were mentioning earlier. And to me, that speaks about who you are as a person. And that is great. I feel that it's a living soul in itself. And when you look at your art, is there any favorites that you have? Anything that you have done so far that you say, hey, this is where I put my heart and this is the best piece that I've done so far? Is there any favorite that you have in the stuff that you have done over the years?
The Scarecrow.
Scarecrow?
In terms of statues, Scarecrow. Because I had almost 100% freedom to create him. Of course, I have some frame, which is the Scarecrow is a grass or what is it? How to say? What is it? It's a scarecrow, right?
It is a scarecrow, so,
yeah. Inside
straw.
that frame,
yeah,
a straw. Yeah, that's the word. It's straw. It's a character made out of sort of a straw, but it was so, the frame was so wide. It's like, okay, do whatever you want, and the freedom that they gave me to really dig in and create the story, the background behind it, and really inventing, creating, studying the Chinese culture, the Japanese culture, and the influence of the Chinese culture on the Japanese culture, and everything you see on that statue has a why. It's a story. It's a piece of element behind that. It's not because this and that. No. It's because it everything is related. So and I was, I really was blessed to have done that.
So in every project that you do, like you're saying, because that's one thing I would say about the Scarecrow, like you were saying, there's so much detail and there's like everything comes, I can see the inspiration everywhere. Do you do a lot of research every time you have a project to do to kind of express that story? Do you have to do some historical research and look into art books and stuff like that?
Usually I do. I am not given the opportunity. For example, right now I've been lately working on some, how to say, works that is, based on movies.
Okay.
And it's like just copying the movie. That's it. Just copying what you see in the movie, and that's okay. It's work. It's good. They pay the bills, but it's dead time. If you want, if you ask me, do I want to do a big shop? No, I don't want to do a big shop alien. Do you want to sculpt an alien warrior just matching what appears in the movie? No, it has been done before already.
Many times.
It's like I don't want to do that. It's like dead time for me, at least for me. I want to do a new alien. I want to do a new Hulk. I want to do a new Wolverine. I want to do whatever it is. Give me the room to grow, to present something new. Oh, you don't want to, you don't trust me, but you don't trust in taking the risk. Okay, let's navigate that. Let's find a middle point. But they just don't want to do that. So for me, not always. I rarely get the chance to do that. Rarely get the chance to do that investigation. Again, the only chance that I had to do that, I think it was on the Scarecrow. Yeah. So, so much freedom. Just a Scarecrow. Okay.
Now, and now that you mentioned that, like it definitely, it's a fantastic piece, and I wish, you can get the opportunity to do more of that, more of the to express yourself and your ideas. into those pieces, because I feel that that one is a very unique. I never seen anything like it. And you definitely pour something in a very interesting collection, because the Samurai collection itself, it gives room to create and develop and actually transform the Batman universe into something totally unique. And to me, that is just so refreshing that unfortunately we don't get to see that much. Now, when you look at the stuff that you have done, and I'm sure that you have some things that you would love to do. Is there anything that you would love to do that you haven't gotten the chance to do yet? Any franchise or any character that is in your heart to do or to produce, but you haven't been able to do it yet professionally? Is there one character or a franchise that you're interested on?
I would like to do a dragon. I would like to sculpt a dragon. I would like to sculpt a predator, design and sculpt a predator. My own design with my own story behind it. Pretty much that. I mean, because sometimes it's not about what I would like to do. It's more about, okay, would you do this, but in your way? Give me whatever you give me. I'll try to sort of guide you, but whatever you give me is going to be great. It's going to be, trusting in the artist, trusting in him. It's just that it doesn't appear anymore. Just the chance is not there anymore, almost. But I would say that, I would say that the Predator is the one character that I've never done, and I would like to have a statue of him in my house. I would say so.
I can see that you're the type of person that you love the challenge. You like to be challenged. When they don't give you the opportunity to do something unique, something that it speaks about you, then it's just a job, like you said. It's just a task to do. It gets boring and stale after a while. But if they give you the chance to kind of go with it and do whatever you want, then of course it becomes like a passion work. It becomes a passion.
There's no
journey.
room for that anymore. There's no room for that anymore. It just do this and do this and don't get it complicated, because it have to be cheap and it have to be go into production and no. For example, I love Green Lanterns.
Yeah.
And well, now that we talk about that, I would love to do a round of Green Lanterns enemies. It's aliens.
There's so many characters
combined with superheroes. It's perfect. And there are some designs there that are amazing. Okay, we cannot do some alien in the background. Okay, we will not be able to sell that. But at least let's do a Kilowog. Let's do Sinestro, not Sinestro, but the other one. What's the Red Lantern? Atrocitus. Let's do. There's largely so many great characters. Oh no. Green Lantern fans, they don't want that. They don't want that because you don't give it to them.
Yeah. All you get is a Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, or the most Sinestro, and that's about it. But there's so many characters.
It's the most, the richest. So many great, richest. It's like that, and they still doing the same over and over. Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart and holy mother, for God's sake, yes. boring, and that's why they all the companies start to do exactly the same pose. Everybody's the same because you're doing the same characters over and over. You just go to how to say vestuario. You go to the closets, change the clothes, and then go back and another round over and over again. Of course, you will step on each other doing the same pose every time because it's guys, you're doing the same over and over again. But anyway, Green Lanterns is a good example. I would love to do something else related to Green Lanterns. I had a sketch of Kilowog.
Okay.
And it was my take on Kilowog. And I said to, let's not name companies, but to few of them, I said to them, how about this? They say, that's great, but we are not doing that.
And you know what? There hasn't been I don't remember a kilowatt, that has been done.
Only one many years ago. Only one many years ago.
And what was that from?
I don't remember, but
I think there was something very small. I think DC Collectibles did one years ago. But other than that, like, it hasn't been done. Like, to me, it's like companies are just scared or afraid to try something new. They just, to me, it's like there's so many possibilities. And there's so many artists like yourself that are willing to take the task, say, I'll do it, I'll take care of it. But they just, they like think that desire to break the mold and to do something different, it's no longer there. Unfortunately, I feel that it's just like you said, a rinse and repeat. It's the same repetition of the same characters on the same thing. Batman, once again, there's always a Batman. Every year there's like 2 or 3 Batmans, and you got Superman, and then of course Wonder Woman. You have the whole Trinity. And then you go back again to another Trinity, and the same happens on the other side with Marvel. You get a Wolverine, you get the Captain America. And I feel that it's just, there's so much potential that is on tap, that is, and the problem is that artists don't get any younger. Artists sometimes, like you were saying, they get tired of doing the same thing over and over. And they just, they quit, because they say, you know what, I'm just doing the same thing over and over. And I don't feel that I'm expressing myself or exploring my potential or growing as an artist, because I'm just doing the same thing.
I left one of let me say this. I left one of the biggest, if not the big company in the industry, just because of that. It's not about the money. It's about what's my legacy. If tomorrow I die, what do I left behind?
Correct.
Right? What do I left behind? I don't want to leave this world. Without having been, haven't got the chance to do something like that, to do an Alien or something else. And it's just like, I need to do those. I don't want to do another Batman. I don't want to do another. And I remember some our director telling me, but it's a Batman. Yeah, it's just another one. Yeah, but it's Batman. I don't care. And this, I remember telling him that, and he's a very good, I would say, sculptor, artist. He's very good sculptor. But I remember when he told me, but it's a Batman, I said, well, this Batman is exactly the same as the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones and the Lost Ark last scene, when they put the Ark inside of a warehouse full of boxes. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah.
It's the last one. It's like, it's just another one. No matter what. It's a Batman. I don't care. It's just one more. In a list of thousands of Batmans. It is like, it doesn't speak to me. I mean, what I'm saying is that at that time, I was representing the Batman, as they wanted me to represent it, very classic. And it's like, it's just Batman. I don't know, whatever.
Yes. You know what? It is unfortunate because, with the technology that we have now, with the way things can be done like never before, you can, there's always going to be those people who would say the traditional is better than digital. It's always going to be that argument. But to be honest with you, like, both go hand in hand. Like you were saying early on, with digital, you can do so much stuff. You can fix things. You can do things that were unimaginable before. You can add so much detail. So many things that can be done can be printed, no problem. But still, even though we have the technology, it's like, I feel that we're not, it's like you have a fast car, like a car that can go 300 miles an hour, but you decide just to go under the speed limit, like 25, because, they are afraid. Companies are afraid to even try. It is sad. What would you say to collectors? I would say to collectors, particularly young collectors that are coming into this industry and they get so amazed by everything. What would you tell them? What would be your advice to collectors, people that are buying this stuff, in order to make the right choices? What would you say to them when they're buying the products?
Well, most probably nothing, because they have their own goals. For example, not most, but many collectors, what they want is to collect things that people are talking about. You have to understand somehow the collectors community.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody collects just for the sake of collection, and that's it nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're talking about the new generation. It used to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
But with internet and after pandemic, what they try to do, what they collect is a way to communicate with other people, is to be part of a group, is to be part of a community. So if they don't really care about the collectibles, the statue itself, the art itself, they are interested in that as far as they need to be part of the conversation. That's it, done.
Mm.
And if they talk about that, and the main thing is to keep the YouTube channel alive,
Mm-hmm.
and get followers and get a huge community. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
The art itself, that's not the point.
Mm.
So there's nothing I can say to them because the goal is different.
Mm.
I am an artist. If I am an artist, it's because I am always trying to say something with my art.
Correct.
Even with my art is not perfect. It has a lot of, flaws,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of room to improvement.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying with all of this that I'm the best. I am the best at nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But I am trying to say something.
Yeah.
I am trying to say based on my experience, based on my history, based on my background.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if I want to do a Hulk, I'm going to do a Hulk that is different, and not for the sake of difference. It's because it's going to be a Hulk that nobody have done in that way before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's going to have a grace, and it's going to be a Hulk, a monster with the grace of a ballet dancer.
Oh, wow.
That's going to be my Hulk. Because Hulk is not just hypertrophic muscles.
It's also Bruce Banner.
Because when it's about the guy can jump from city to city.
Correct.
He's agile. You cannot do, it's like, imagining a bodybuilder fighting inside the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be killed.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's not agile. He's not a combat.
Mm-hmm.
But in a statue, the only way you can give, the sense of, threaten, is that the way to say? Mm-hmm. Is by giving him the feeling of, oh my God, this guy is huge, but also can move as grace and as agile mm-hmm. as the ballet dancers.
Correct.
That two things combined is, oh my God, it's unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do some guys just, what are you gonna do? You're pooping.
Yes.
What are you gonna do? And even symmetrical, they're selling, it's big, it's huge. I want it. Everybody's talking about that, but he's pooping. He's having some problems to poop. Oh my God. It's like, okay, guys.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So I'm sorry. To close this, to answer your question, I would say nothing to them. Everything I say is through my art.
Through your art.
If you don't see it, that's it. There's
you're right.
I can say about it.
Honestly, you're totally right. I think that sometimes we have an idea in our mind, at a character, but as an artist, there's so many different ways that I would say, even using the example of Hulk, the Hulk can be represented in so many different aspects. They're doing so many different things, but everybody chooses the same pose no matter what. Everybody wants Hulk
inside the bathroom.
Yes, angry. But there's so many different ways. And I think that's where the art is. How can you express a story with something so simple? Like you were saying early on with the Batman, the old Batman in the alley. That's a story in itself. And actually, I would love to see something like that at some point. Maybe you get the opportunity to produce that. That would be definitely a great a way to leave a legacy there in this art, because it's just unique. I never seen anything like that. And I think it would be awesome just to see. Now that you talk, collectors, is not much you can say, because like you said, and you kind of you nail it there. I think collectors are totally different from now. They're just looking for the community. There's a reason they're collecting, so they can impress their peers, so they can showcase that, so they can have a YouTube channel, so they can showcase anything on Facebook or whatever, rather than just for the passion of collecting art because they love the art. But what would you say to artists that are getting into this crowded market where there's so many artists, there's so many companies, and it's not as easy as to find work? What would you tell to a young artist like if you look back in your life when you started this, if you can fix something, what would be your advice to yourself, but to whoever is young that is starting in this industry now?
It will be different. What I would say to myself than what I would say to an artist that is starting now.
Okay.
Let's start there. What I would say to an artist that is trying to get into the industry is that do what everybody else is doing, but better. Try to improve. Try to do it better. And also do not make the mistake. And by saying this, I'm going to be answering the second part of a question, right? Mm-hmm. Do not think that being a good sculptor artist is enough to succeed in this industry. It's not enough. It's not enough. You have to be hunger. You have to be a businessman. Mm-hmm. I have met a lot of artists, and those that were able to have success in their careers, and even and fast, really fast, is because they were hungry, man. They were hungry, and they just used the medium and the industry as a step to get somewhere else. What do I have to do? Get better at anatomy? I'll do it. What do I have to do? Get better at hard surface? I'll do it. Mm-hmm. They don't love it. They just want to. They just. I want to grow. I want to grow. It's the finances, the business side that they want. Mm-hmm. Those are the ones that the industry really, really, in my short experience, support. Mm-hmm. The big companies, that's what they want. Mm-hmm. They don't want artists. They want artists or sculptors or technicians that have really the mindset of a businessman, which is, I'll do whatever you want if you pay me. Mm-hmm. I don't care. But do you have anything to say? No. I'll do whatever you want if you pay me. Mm-hmm. And it's like, all right. So my advice to them is do what everybody else is doing, but better. Try to do it better. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. In order to be, to be in the competition and to have a great level of competition there. And at the same time, try to improve your resilience, resistance to frustration. Mm-hmm. Try to be hungry, really hungry. It's like you want to eat the world. Mm-hmm. And to myself, mm-hmm. Start studying ZBrush and all the open your mind to the technician and to the 3ds Max and all the other programs earlier, because I entered this company, or not this company, but this industry with the mindset of the old Stan Winston school, mm-hmm. where everything was done by hand, mm-hmm. sketches, drawing, and the Tyrannosaurus Rex statue for the first one was handmade. Mm-hmm. That was my mindset. But I got, I get late inside to get into that industry.
Circle.
It's like, and it's like, no, that was a wrong mindset. That was a wrong mindset. ZBrush, computers, technician things, all the programs. Try to open your mind to that. Mm-hmm. And probably today I will be in another place.
That's true. Now just really we're getting closer to the end of the episode, but what do you do now that going a little more into your personal time? Because not everything is art, not everything is just sculpting. I'm sure that you do a lot of that. What do you do to just for yourself, what do you do just to kill the time, just to relax, to kick back? What are the things that you do besides, of course, work, besides sculpting or drawing?
Whenever I have time, I put that time into. I try to divide the time in, spending time with my family and my dog, and which is part of my family anyway.
Yes.
And nowadays I'm really kicking my ass to get into studying new programs, new render programs, and trying to those things that I think in time and with effort are gonna put me outside the collectibles industry.
Now that you're looking at the future, and I see that you're constantly studying a lot of things. You like to, as long as you're challenged, as long as you get the opportunity to better yourself, I can see that you're the type of person that is always looking for the challenge to become better. How do you see yourself in the future? Like, how do you see right now? Of course, you're in this position where you're doing a lot of work, but what is the goal that you would like to see 10 years from now or 20 years from now? What is your goal?
Wow. Well, hopefully not working for anyone, just working for myself with my own collectibles things or ideas or stories, or selling my having a brand, having my own stories, having not have to depend on somebody comes and hire me. That's the way. That's how I would see myself. I sell my stuff. I do my sculptures. I present my art in different ways, with renders, digitals, and drawings and things, and expressing myself inside a brand. Something that I can create and then sell it, and hopefully having enough support to make a living.
That would be great. Any last words now that we're coming to the end? Any last words anything that you want to share? Anything that you would like to say? Perhaps something that you forgot to say?
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you very much for having me here. Thank you very much for the time that you dedicate to this interview. I've been always, since the first time, I really like the way you do your reviews, JP, because you are someone that can say, I don't like this statue, but this is why. And you say it in a very respectful way. And in a way that take in consideration that behind it, there's a lot of effort to put that statue out there. And also, there's a lot of respect in what you say and in the way you see things. And I love that. I don't see that very often, especially nowadays, when anybody can talk about anything and give their opinion, no matter what. It's like, this is what I think, and that's it, done. And it's like, no, you need to respect. You need to speak from a place where includes validation for what the other people do, and even when you don't like it, when it is not, even when that is not your cup of tea. So I do really thank you for that, because you've been always very generous with my art in any review that you do. And even when you say something like that, I appreciate. You open my mind. You help me to understand that, hey, as an artist, I have also areas to improve, and I do best the next time if I have the chance. But first of yeah, that's the only thing. Thank you very much for this.
No, I would say, Amilcar, thank you for the kind words. And I do admire you as an artist. I think you are a phenomenal artist. I think there is so much potential. I feel that there's more need of your art out there. I wish companies would give you more projects to do. You never know what the future will be, but you know, you do something unique. You're very unique. But another great thing about you is that you are open to the criticism. You're open. Not every artist is. You listen, you pay attention. You're paying attention to what people are saying, and in that way, you are bringing that back to your art for improvement. And to me, that is, I think it's important to be humble in everything in life, not only in art but in everything. To know that we're not perfect and there's always room for improvement. But like you said, one of the biggest issues that we have in this community, and I would say around everything now in life, everything, everywhere, people that just feel entitled to say whatever it comes to mind without really considering the facts that there's a human being behind everything. And I'm not an artist, I'm not a sculptor, but I'm sure that you spend hours, countless hours and days, and sometimes late nights, and sometimes, you know, weekends, and sometimes you don't have time even for the family because you are invested into producing something of value with the art. And for someone just to tear it apart just in a couple of seconds, to call it trash, to me, that is just unthinkable. That, to me, that's disrespectful. And that really is ignorant. And unfortunately, there's a lot of ignorant people out there, even in this community. Even people that have YouTube channels that are ignorant, that they just simply say whatever they want to say, but they don't have considerations because, first of all, they're not artists. Perhaps they're frustrated because they cannot produce, but they don't express, you know, at least with certain level of respect, you know, honor the, try to at least to put ourselves on your shoes and try to understand from your point of view, what are you trying to say? So I would say I love and I respect, and I want to say thank you for the time you took to this interview. Hopefully I can get the opportunity at some point to meet with you in person, whether it's here in the United States or whether it's in Argentina. At some point, I would love to meet in person and to really look at your art. And I know that you have a lot to do and you have a lot to say, and I appreciate that you took the time. And now, before this, and if there's any place where people, if they want to follow you, they want to see your art, perhaps there's someone that is listening to this but hasn't been able to see your art before, is there any website, any social media platform that you spend your time where they can come and look at your stuff?
Well, on Facebook, they can look for me, you know, Amilcar Aldana Fong or Amilcar Fong. Instagram and my art station, they can see all my work, pretty much all my work there, the work that I can show. And Facebook, Instagram, and art station.
Our station. So I will have all those links for those who are listening and watching this. Everything is going to be in the description. If you want to go to Instagram, on Facebook, you can meet him there. You can look at all his recent stuff in our station also. So I will have everything for everyone. I want to say again, Amilcar, gracias. Gracias por estar aquí. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone who is watching this and listening. And I appreciate it. Don't forget to like if you're watching on YouTube, to subscribe to the channel if this is the first time. Or you can also, if you're listening to this, please share the podcast, let everyone know, and being able to meet Amilcar, some people for the first time. Definitely, he's a phenomenal artist, and I'm definitely grateful for the opportunity to be here with him today. So my friends, God bless you, take care, and we will talk to you again. Bye-bye.